Hi, nice to meet you. My name's Charlie, and this is my channel. It's called Science of Strategy, and today I'm going to talk about the science of how to sit very well. And I'm going to review two books which are paramount to being a good reader. I feel like being a good reader is a very important thing for anybody, especially for my channel called The Science of Strategy. Being a strategist, I think being a good reader is very important, but I feel like just like the contents of what the ink is writing about, well, what we are writing about on a book, the contents are very important, right? But I feel like perhaps whether it's Nietzsche, whether it's the Bible, when Moses wrote the Bible, it was great. The contents is very great. But sometimes I feel like the greater thing is the blank paper that surrounds the content. And without the blank paper, without this engineering, there is no Bible, there is no Urmez philosophy. There's no music score written by Bach or Mozart. It's really about perhaps more than the content, perhaps the background is much more important. And here, of course, we're not talking about the blank paper. We're not even talking about the book. We're talking about how to sit. And why am I trying to review these two books? Which is, one is a recent book that I read called The Roots of Yoga, and the other is another book which it's over there, sorry. It's this Korean book called What is Kyung, which is, Kyung means high respect for something, but in a fear of something. Being a bit fearful of, or not fearful, but more like in a God-fearing way. That's the writer response to my confusion here. Anyhow, these two books called The Roots of Yoga and 경이란 무엇인가, I'm gonna have two videos about this. One is in English, one is in Korean. And because I want Korean people, because one of my mother tongues is Korean, and I want them to be very good at this, as well as my English-speaking peoples here. I'm going to demonstrate why these two books were very important to me in terms of how to sit properly. You know, this book, any book, the contents is just as important, as well as the blank page, as well as the structure of the book. But who's reading the structure of the book? Which is a person right here. So perhaps the way I think is more important. Perhaps my physical properties is more important. Perhaps more than my physical properties, perhaps the food that I eat is more important. Perhaps the room I am in is more important. Because without the room I am in, how am I supposed to even have the condition to even read this book? So the background is more important. I'm trying to set the right background here in order for you to be a better reader, to be a better strategist, or something like that. I'm thinking of changing this channel's name to The Science of Strategy. That's why I'm constantly talking about this. Because this is very important to me, this concept, or this idea, or this directive. So, well, finally, we are here. We're gonna review this book first, and then some of this book, because for this book I have not a lot to say to English-speaking peoples. And the reason I wanted to review this book is in terms of being a better reader. I feel like
being a good hatha yogaist is a very important thing. Whereas a lot of people who read much books, who do PhDs or doing that, they feel like, oh, my posture doesn't matter, how I conduct my body, my health, my diet doesn't really matter in terms of how I do well in school. And perhaps maybe if I have a bad posture, it's better. If I have a bad diet, like tons of coffee a day, maybe it's better. But I tend to disagree, because on the long run it's gonna hurt you. The reason this book is so good, for my and for my website called Science of Strategy, because this channel is for that website, although my channel's name is Charlie Cho. The reason I want you to read this book, or at least get the insights that I got from this book to you, one of the best quotes on this book was that really left a dent on me is, if you know how to sit well, you are enlightened, as well as you can understand the whole laws of the universe just by sitting well. And that was just one of the quotes that were in this book, because this is a scholarly book, kind of compiles all different types of video, like all types of books about yoga in the past, and they just compile these as quotes, and they explain what it really means from all that. And it's so beautifully compiled that I kind of like, it really inspired me, really. I don't know if you can really read this book. Let's see, let's try to read more of it. When he was evacuated, and not according to the ordinances, he should clean his left. I'm sorry. I didn't know it would be this way, but anyhow, just like, it talks about all the intricacies of yoga, hatha yoga, and it just like startled me. And as you just saw, that it was not just about how you sit, it's about how you clean your body and all that. I mean, like in here it says like go to secluded places to actually do your yoga and all those things. And it just kind of like gave me an idea of how much hard work these people put in to like just have a good posture and all that. But as I just said to you, the one of the best quotes from this book was from me, it was one of the compiled quotes, was that just by knowing how to sit very well, you are able to know the whole law of the universe. That alone made me realize how important it is to just sit well when you're studying or reading. And of course, why would I just review this book just to show that one quote? Because that one quote kind of summarizes what this whole book is kind of meant for. Because what is hatha yoga? It's basically an asana practice. Asana in Hindu scripture, Hindu, it means the way of sitting. So hatha yoga is basically knowing how to sit. So what you want to do, it talks about breath control, it talks about how to clean your body, it talks about how to breathe, it all talks about, it's just so much, how to deal with a guru. and sometimes like different states that you might have when you are pursuing this path. And because it's not just one person, it's just a compiled explanation and quotes by scholars who conducted this book, you can have a broad view about Hatha Yoga, which is absolutely beautiful. It even talks about visualization. So visualization, knowing how to breathe well, knowing where to put your body in, like on a mattress or on a mat, or should I put it on? Should I have a loincloth? Should I be naked? How should I clean my body? Do I clean it with, like that? As we had on this first quote, it just shows every little intricate detail. But what does this relate to how the science of strategy, of how to be a better reader? First of all, that's a very difficult question that I've just asked myself. Well, I found my focus gets much better when I have a 90-degree lotus posture on my floor, sitting on the floor. And that didn't only translate to sitting on the floor, it translated to my neck feeling much better. It translated to even when I'm sitting on a chair, my spine would be straight without my efforts. And that's why I'm like recommending you, because I was doing all that lotus posture, my pancake stretch got better, my forward fold stretch got way better because of the breath control, the pranayama, with all that, and it's all thanks to this book. And I just recommend you read it. You may not read it. I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, if you don't have a lot of time, just get this book and just read it. And I know it's already about 10 minutes of this video. I wanted to end it with this book, which is a Korean book, which you guys might be asking me, why are you showing me this book? I will translate some of the best quotes from this book for you on PDF, where you can read it. Anyhow, what this book taught me was the study of, I guess, I translate it as a God-fearing word, kyung, which is like a respect. It basically means respect, but it's hard to translate. God-fearing respect or something like that. And so much of this quote talks about how to dress in a rightful way and how to sit on a rightful posture and write on a rightful calligraphy. Because it basically compiles most of the Neo-Confucian era of Koreans and the Chinese, and most of them just talked about respect. What does respect mean? As the Bible, like Jesus talks about the importance of love, maybe Buddha talks about compassion, but Confucianist respect or fearing the other person is a very important thing, because. And this fear I talk about, I say it's not pure fear, it's more like a God-fearing thing. Even the Bible says, if you fear God, that's the beginning of wisdom. It's in that texture that this book is talking about. And it's compiling all these quotes from, most of them was from Zhouzi. But some is from Zhengzi and some is from the Korean scholars in the past, and it's just beautiful. Most of it talks about please have good posture, please have a good way of wearing clothes, and how you conduct your naked body, which is posture, and they don't really talk about respect. They just don't talk about it. They try not to like be too specific about it. Most of the time they just talk about being focused on your work. Just be focused on your work. or be total in your work. You know, like or like totally minded. Your mind should be total in your work and something like that. And it's really weird because you would think like Nietzsche or Hegel or what was it? Those kind of fancy philosophers, they would explain all their concepts about a theme. But Neo-Confucianists, or even Confucius himself, was not very concerned about logical explanations of a concept or a theme of philosophy, or a theme like respect. They didn't try to explain it. They tried to go step by step by what is the basis, what is the fundamental thing you have to actually succeed in before you even talk about the next thing. And who do you think you are to even talk about the next step? You didn't even get the basis right. That's what I got the feeling. That's the feeling I got from reading this, the quotes from these guys, because they would never talk about the higher concept. They would just talk about the most easiest concept, constantly repeating, hey, you didn't even succeed in the basics. Why are you talking about advanced principles? And sometimes they do talk about the advanced principles, but you know, like they're saying, let's get the basis right, which is all that. And anyhow, that's why if you have any time, please read this book, or and I want you to try all that for good posture, for your reading habits, and just, you know, for the knowledge workers, anybody who's watching this video, to just persist and do well in their work or in their life. Hi, so the basic postures that I want to talk about while we're studying here is I usually have a book stand somewhere around here and a computer here. I don't have a computer now, it's up there. Like if I do have a computer, it's here, and a book stand is around here. And what I do is, when I constantly read and study like this, my neck hurts. Right, my neck hurts, and this is not just because I'm studying on the floor. Your neck hurts when you're sitting on chairs. I started sitting on the floor because my neck started hurting while I was on the chair. So I had this book stand because it made my neck a little bit better. Of course, you know, doing some neck training or spine training is good, or stomach crunches might be better, but the most fundamental thing is having good posture. And I feel like sometimes just to have a 90-degree spine on a chair, and I feel like there's a mistake in that. It starts from the floor, being good with the floor. And if you read that Hatha Yoga book, the yoga or the roots of yoga, they will teach you about it more specifically, but you know, a video is better. Or that Korean book, they don't really talk about it, they just say have a good posture, but you know, it's all good. So the lotus posture I want to talk about is have one of your foot around your thigh. I started with this, putting it here, and then putting my right foot around my calf. I don't know if this is a good thing, because I was just not so stretchy in the beginning. Later, as I worked on my stretches, I got a little bit more flexible. I put my heels around my stomach here, and so it's my top thigh. And the shoelaces are just on my thigh. And then I put the other foot around somewhere here. And it's important that your spine is kind of like 90 degrees. Around your sitting bone to your tailbone is up. So when you study like this, your neck is straight, and you just kind of like write whatever you like, and you read wherever the book is around here, and your neck is just up. And one of the best things about the lotus posture is you don't have to adjust from your hip hinge. You don't have to like work at making it a 90 degree. The whole structure of this lotus position kind of just makes you have a 90 degree spine without even a single iota of your efforts. Okay, we gotta really finish this faster. The second posture I want to talk about is sitting on a what is this posture called? Like the Japanese, something like this. Sitting like this, your spine doesn't always be straight. One of the best ways I found that I can make my spine a bit straighter is if I have a mudra, something like this, or like this, or like this. And when I do this, not just me, I mean, this is like ballet people kind of know this, ballet dancers know this, and some yogis know this. They call it the mudra because sometimes your hand positions completely changes the chemistry of your body. So they found that if you do this, you don't know why, but your spine kind of straightens. If you do this, your spine kind of straightens. It kind of happens that way. Of course, when you're holding a pencil, that doesn't happen, but like, does it really matter? Because if the whole time you've been doing this, and then you hold a pencil, I mean, is it that hard to effortlessly put your spine straighten? So these are the two postures that I do. But you know, like, I want you to do the pancake stretches or do the forward fold stretches along with these things. Of course, I started much of my yoga with these things, but I did do some pancake stretches and I did do some forward fold stretches anytime I did, and it helped with my lotus posture and my whatever posture this is, the Japanese, whatever it is. So it will all help you. And once you do this well, you're gonna be able to implement this in your chair sitting. You will effortlessly get your spine straight even on chairs, and you will read much more longer. Your focus will be much more sharper, and you know, like, if you have bad paper, if you read on ebooks, it's hard to read, but if you read on physical paper, it's much better, right? This is like one of those functions. And I don't want you to think of it as a function. I want you to think of this as more like a spiritual practice. I think that's one of the ways to make reading more musical. So try it, and please comment, and thanks for watching. Like, subscribe.